If you're having paranormal issues, contact us at mwghosthunters.com. From the files of the Midwest Ghost Hunters.
All right, Midwest Ghost Hunters site investigation, recorder 1. Oh, Dustin, right there. Something just moved behind you.
Yes, it did.
What the was that?
What happened?
Something touched my ear, man.
What's that?
This is Dark Matter with Midwest Ghost Hunters.
So this is our first time back since we've finally went to Mars Hill, which we talked about for a long time. And I think we decided while we were there, because we're going to have to tell you what happened there. We're going to go through that here in a minute. But I think we decided as we were exiting, we were going to call this chapter Hillbillies and Spiders or something like that because of what happened out there. And we'll and when I say what happened out there, we're not talking about a scary encounter with something paranormal. We're talking literally about spiders and hillbillies.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, first, to set the stage a little bit, we went to Mars Hill because we've been talking about it for so long, about, getting back out there. Then we did get out there. And when we say out there, it is way out there. I even couldn't remember how the hell to get there. We had to pull it up, and look. And, it was completely in a different area than I was thinking. But it's still out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it. It's pitch black out there. We could hear coyote puppies, and it's just, it's literally out in the middle of nowhere. There should be no traffic really out there at all. The last time me and Tyler and Dustin went out there, 15 years ago or whatever, there was one car. I remember because one car pulled into the I guess you'd call it a parking lot, and he was blasting Flow Rida because we kind of ducked down and just hung out for a minute, and that guy left, and we didn't really see any more cars. This trip was different in that there were way too many fucking cars for where that is. There was way too many cars.
Yeah,
it's like, what the hell is happening?
Tremendous amount of traffic there.
And I don't know if it was that there were too many cars or if it was the same cars that just kept going back. Because I noticed one had the ground effects underneath it, and it kept going back and forth.
Yeah, it went back and forth 4 times.
Yeah. Our stories today, we do have a few EVPs we'll play for you that we got, but a lot of our stories today are about people, humans. Human interaction, human interference in the actual investigation itself. I guess we just start from the beginning. We got up there pretty early. We got there in the daytime. We set up a lot of stuff. We kind of split the cemetery into quarters, and we just spread stuff around. Those 25% parcels of land, because it is a pretty big cemetery, and it's grown obviously since we were out there last time. So we put our recorders up. We had a EMF detector going near a recorder, and John had his recorders going. You even had the mics wired, did you?
We set up a bunch of condenser mics and everything.
So yeah, we had a lot of stuff set up, which made it even more difficult to make a quick exit.
That would play in later on.
Yeah. But before we get to the exit, we had a lot of stuff set up. Like I said, we got there in the daytime. We kind of strategically as we could place stuff around. And there were some pretty big-ass spiders out there that were kind of weaving their webs in between the headstones. From the very beginning, it seemed like there were more cars passing by that little road than there should have been.
I had a bad feeling about it. I even told you at one point, I was like, with all this stuff scattered around, it's going to be hard to get it all together.
When you're scattering stuff around in the daytime, in your mind, you're thinking, I'll remember, I put this one right there. It's on that one with that, angel carved in it, and I'm going to put this one over there. But then, hell, you can't see any of that, when it's dark, which should be an obvious thought, but it's different.
There is no lighting there, by the way.
No, just the moon.
There's one floodlight.
Oh, on the building. Yeah, there's one light on the building.
Facing the parking spots. And then, the cemetery itself is just completely dark.
Yeah, and it's not like we were out there, being vigilantes. We were just out there, doing our normal thing. And this isn't a cemetery where you can even get permission. There's no one to ask. It's just out in the middle of the country. So it's not like we didn't have permission to be there. We've been there before. We were just going to roll out there. And then, if we saw a car go by, we were just going to do the thing where, kill your flashlights. Let's just lay low for a minute, let them pass so they don't think we're out here tipping headstones or whatever the hell people do whenever they go out and, vandalize cemetery. But I did have the thought at one point, and I may have even said it out loud, I don't remember, because I remember thinking, should we pull our cars, because there's a tiny little road big enough for a car to drive through, like most cemeteries have, that weaves through the cemetery.
Right, we talked about that and we decided not to because we thought then that's going to make it look like we're trying to hide them.
Because the original thought was, well, if we pulled in there, nobody would even know we're here. Then the second thought is, well, hell, if they happen to see those cars in there, that's really going to raise some red flags. So we just kind of left our cars out in the open there and scattered around. I don't even remember, we just kind of split up.
I think you're going to have the same problem trying to investigate any cemetery anywhere. Because no matter what cemetery you're at, there's going to be people that live around that cemetery that have got family members there that are always going to be up trying to see what's going on. I think that this is going to be a problem with anybody trying to do that anywhere.
Well, if there's traffic at this one.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. If we did like the National Cemetery here in Springfield, because it's got a lot of stories that come out of it. Number one, there's so much traffic that goes by, but you would have to get permission to be there because it's it's a federal
I actually
cemetery.
think that one, once you got permission, if you could get permission, it's over, because then, they've got security guards that are there. No one's going to come up and mess with you at that point in time if the security guards have blessed you to be there for whatever reason. But I don't think you would ever get permission.
Because I know from our attempts to get permission to go into the State Building downtown. There's a building on the square here in Springfield downtown, the State Building, that was once a hotel where Wild Bill Hickok, where all that happened. That's supposed to have a lot of activity. And I tried for a year or two to try to get in there, and finally I was just like, fuck it, we're not getting in there. Might as well go investigate the Pentagon. But anyway, this cemetery, Mars Hill, is in the middle of nowhere, and like I said, we've been there before. It's kind of one of those areas. I guess it's one of those areas where people who are out there, they're usually not up to anything, on the above board if you're out there, because there's nothing out there. It's not like you're going to the store that way.
So the spot that it's at, I was thinking about this. It's not a very good spot because you are right on the county line.
I know. It's right on the Barry-Stone County line.
So you've got split jurisdiction there for law enforcement.
Well, and that would make it a good spot typically because nobody's checking it.
It's a good spot to go steal stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. A good spot for us, because, we don't have to worry about police going by.
Nobody with authority is checking it.
No.
And then you're going to go up and explain to these people that are out there that are patrolling the cemetery because their grandparents or whatever lived there, and then they passed away, and so they're in the cemetery. You're going to explain to them that you're a bunch of ghost hunters.
Well, and that's what that's what we did.
I don't think the gentleman we met we're checking on Granny.
No, that's what I was going to say. I know some people who have family buried out there. They're not patrolling and checking shit. I know that.
I'm just saying that I think that would be a problem with any cemetery that anybody is thinking about doing an investigation. I just don't recommend doing that. I think that there's a lot better. Yeah. And then you run into another bag of problems, and that is all of the sounds from outside. Cattle, trees,
coyotes, bugs.
Any number of problems that also complicate it.
Human sound interference wasn't really a problem. There weren't any people out there for a while. But so anyway, we'll kind of get back to it. We'd split up into groups. We kind of sectioned the cemetery off into quarters and just took a spot and then just kind of moved around. We did EVP sessions. We had cameras going, took a lot of pictures, and we didn't really see, anything out of the ordinary. But I was off balance from the very get-go because there were too many cars going by. I was constantly, you'll have your flashlight on, trying to see where the hell you're going, and then a car's coming and you got to kill your flashlight. So at one point, we were really good about turning the flashlights off whenever a car would go by, and they wouldn't even give us, pay any attention. I'm sure they saw our cars parked out there, but they wouldn't, see us milling around, out there amongst the headstones and stuff. But at one point, I was the one who made the mistake of, well, it wasn't I didn't see the car was coming, and whenever you take a picture with your phone in low light, it takes it a minute for that damn flash to go off.
Once you press it,
it's too late. And I pressed it, and about that time a car goes by and my flash lights up the whole fucking field.
Yeah.
And we looked up. We looked up and saw that car. His brake lights come on.
They did.
Out there on the road.
He put it in reverse.
And his reverse lights then came on. And so he's backing all the way up this road, and at this point, Tyler was on his walkie-talkie, saying, car coming, car, it's like, oh, shit. So we're trying to remember where everything is, because we don't know. I mean, look, we're out in the middle of nowhere. This car backs up all the way back up to the parking lot, and we were freaking out. because number one, I couldn't remember at that point. Now that the adrenaline's going, I couldn't remember where the fuck I put anything. Like I said earlier, you'll remember I put this recorder here, the EMF detector's over there, and that's over there. Easy enough. I'll collect those 3 and we'll go home. And it's not that easy whenever there's suddenly an emergency and you got to collect that stuff quickly. I had no idea. I didn't even know what area of the cemetery I put anything in.
I knew I was just hosed because with the setup that I had put up, I knew it was going to take forever to break it down. I just knew that was it.
Yeah, you had wires all over.
Yeah, I had wires, everybody, all over the place, and mics run all over the place. And I was like, there's just nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
John's got a whole missile command set.
Yeah.
It'd take an hour and a half to get all that broken down.
So anyway, this car backs up and pulls into the parking lot. So this is where things start to unravel.
He pulled into that dirt path that you mentioned earlier.
The one that weaves through. Yeah, not only did he pull in, he pulled through the cemetery.
Yeah.
While we're running around trying to get shit, you know?
2 different cars.
I don't even know how the second car appeared. I don't where
remember
it came
when
from.
that happened.
Okay, so my first thought when he started pulling through, my mind immediately went to the worst case scenario because I was like, okay, he saw cars.
I actually said when I was with Tyler and Hunter, I said, we got to get the fuck out of here or we're going to get deliveranced.
You did.
Well, he saw cars parked. And I didn't know about the flash thing at that moment. I didn't know that had happened. So I didn't know we were actually spotted yet.
Oh, he saw it.
So my first thought was he saw cars in a parking lot in an empty, dark cemetery, and he was going to see if people had just left their cars there to carpool. He was checking the cemetery to see if people were actually there. And if he didn't see anybody, he was going to break some windows. That was my first thought.
That was my worry. Let's make it very clear to everybody listening. Not one of us was worried that this was a concerned citizen patrolling the cemetery for the good of the cemetery. Not one of us was thinking that.
No.
Because that was not the kind of individual who rolled through. This was a hillbilly, which is perfectly fine, but I'm just saying that's not what we expected to see whenever we were out there. And not let alone, number one, we didn't expect to see him back all the way up this tiny little 1-lane road to the parking lot. Number two, we didn't expect to see him start driving through the cemetery. So yeah, that was my concern, is this guy was thinking, hey, I'm going to pull through here and see if these cars are vacant because I'm going to bust some shit up. That was my thought. Not at one point did I think this was a concerned citizen patrolling the good of the cemetery. That guy's weaving through the cemetery. Where did the other car come from?
Shortly after, he just pulled in.
My fear was, and I didn't even think about it at first, about them being somebody who was going to steal stuff. I thought that these were going to be guys that thought we were out there up to no good in the cemetery, and that their answer was just going to be, I'm just going to shoot those guys.
That's what I thought too, especially when he saw our flash from a location and then went on the dirt path to that spot.
I thought he was just going to take out a gun and just shoot us, and that would be the end, because and then say, well, they were vandals.
Right. Yeah, because anybody who's seen, if you've ever seen the show Mountain Monsters, that's who rolled up, is those guys, in my mind.
I was worried it was going to take a wrong turn approach.
Well, and the problem was when the second car pulled in, they blocked the exit.
They did.
That's when I got really concerned.
Yeah, they blocked the exit, so we couldn't even leave if we wanted to.
It seemed very strategic.
Yeah. Now, as far as the exchange that happened with the individuals, that would be, Dustin was the one who went and talked
hands in the air.
Well, I surrender.
Yes.
I think
it
that's
was either
very
that
smart.
or
I think that's very, very smart, because he went up there in a position that way they can't think that he's running at them, or that he's got a gun or anything else. His hands are up saying, hey, I want to explain what's going on.
It was either
that was brilliant.
or we ram the car and escape.
Yeah.
Those were our two options.
Those roads are not one I want a high-speed chase on either. So what did they say? When you approached them, what did the guy say?
There's only one guy.
The first thing Dustin did was when he walked up to the car, he went, howdy.
I did not. No, I went up, like you said, I showed him my hands. I put my flashlight away because my first thought was he's going to think this is a gun and I'm going to die here. What a stupid way to go.
If you had gotten shot, that cemetery would no longer exist. We would have mowed it over getting out of there. There would have been 4 cars going across the hills.
Committed all sorts of crimes against humanity.
And then we would have checked on you later.
And I was getting ready to say I'd still be bleeding out, but
yeah. What did they say? Did they ask what we were doing out there, or did you just volunteer information?
No, I'm the one that did most of the talking at the start. He just kind of sat there and stared at me with hillbilly expression.
I can imagine what that is.
The vacant, kind of
that glazed over.
Glazed over, just looking right through me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I showed my hands and I'm like, hey man, just want to let you know what we're doing here. I was like, we're not up to no good here. I actually said we have a YouTube channel.
I heard that.
I thought that might be easier to explain.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't know what a podcast is.
I mean, we do have a YouTube channel, yeah.
If I told him we had a podcast, he'd be like, what the hell's that?
Right, yeah.
So I was like, we have a YouTube channel. We got
what, boy?
we got a decent So we got a decent following. We're just here. We've been here before. We caught some stuff, some voices and noises, and I'm like, he's like, oh, so you're ghost hunting?
Oh, he volunteered that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, I guess you could call it that. Sure. We're just here to try to run some audio and see what we catch.
Whatever you kids call this.
And then I asked him, because at this point in time, that truck is still weaving in and out.
I know. I saw it because we were in there. We were trying to collect
of the cemetery.
Stuff.
He's going down the rows of the gravestones with his lights on, looking.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I literally pointed at the truck. And I said, is that guy with you? Is he your friend? It's like, you might want to let him know. And this guy looked at me and said, no, don't know who that is.
And he clearly did.
And that's when my mind immediately went to the dark places. Because I was like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, that was...
You do know who this is.
I don't lie.
And then eventually that truck pulled back out there near the other guy.
It pulled in front of him at the exit.
I told the guys, like, we're not going to be here long. We're going to be heading out here pretty soon.
They were like interacting with one another non-verbally.
So after that, and I walk away towards you guys, which, by the way, my first word was, we got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, that was already underway.
He leaves. The guy I talked to in the car leaves. And then he goes down that side road parallel to the grave sites, like across the road there from the entrance. The truck leaves. Then they get right behind each other.
Yeah.
Like on that road. And I didn't know this, but Hunter pointed out that the guy in front, the guy I talked to, did a hand signal out the window
to the other guy behind that he didn't know.
That he just told me he doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, he took his arm at a right angle and started pointing forward really quickly.
He's doing some marine hand signal. I don't know.
You take point.
Yeah, you take point. Which immediately confirmed that he lied at least about one thing.
Well, there's no way those two people didn't know each other. They tailgated each other over the little Jackrabbit Hills all the way until they disappeared into the horizon.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's nothing out there.
And at that point, that's when my adrenaline really hit.
There's no way those two...
Because I remember thinking, like, I was almost going to say, look, I'll buy whatever we leave. But those guys are coming back.
Yes. Yeah. Because I know that area well enough. I know at the beginning I said I was lost and couldn't find the cemetery. I was. But once we got there, I kind of knew the layout of where we were well enough to know. I know what's out there, and the answer to that is nothing, except for a few houses peppered around the hillside. And that road that they took, that they both followed each other down, goes nowhere but to a couple of houses out there. So there's no way they were both going that direction.
It is a literal dirt road.
Yes.
Yeah, the chance that they both live down there and don't know each other is pretty,
zero.
Zero. Astronomically slim.
There's nobody down there who doesn't know each other. No matter how close you live to, and they all know each other.
I remember thinking it begs the question, why lie about that? Why not say, oh, that was my buddy. Yeah, we're just checking to make sure everything's okay out here. That would be the right response.
And that makes me think then that perhaps they were up to no good.
Oh, they definitely were.
Yeah. See, what I was worried about when I saw those cars was that I'm carrying this Zoom recorder, and I've got this really cool little kit that goes with it. It's got the little foam ball on the front of the mic, and it's got this thing underneath it. It's a handle, the shock absorber, and all this other hoo-ha stuff. And it looks great. It looks like, if you're a Star Trek fan, it looks like Phaser 2 on the original Star Trek, which is awesome.
And from a distance at night, it looks like a gun.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so I'm sitting here thinking, these guys are going to look out here, and the guy who's carrying the gun is the guy you're going to shoot. And the problem with that is that's me. And so
pass it off to one of us and ran away.
Here, hold this for a minute.
No, it was like, I've got to get out of here. We've got to get out of here. Yeah. And I do not recommend, if you are anybody that is wanting to do any sort of paranormal stuff at all, cemeteries are just, as cool as that may sound, there's just too many variables. It's just a bad idea.
Well, and we can sit here and talk about being, experts in the field all we want. And when we say that, we're talking about places where we have permission to go. Now, this is something we haven't done in 15 years, is going to a place where there's really no one to ask permission. We hadn't been there in forever. So I agree. Now that we've done that again, we've never been the type who started out our group, wandering around cemeteries and places like that. We never did. I know a lot of groups start that way, but we never did. So this is kind of uncharted territory, for us as far as doing outdoor.
We weren't even
places like
really
that.
a group then.
No, we were just going
We were
out
just
there because we'd
messing
heard
around.
stories. Yeah, but a lot of groups do start that way. They'll start at cemeteries, and they may have the secret sauce on how to get permission to do a cemetery that we don't have. That's fine.
That's fine. If you're doing a city, that's not going to be a drugged out hillbilly talking to you.
It's not, but
it'll be a policeman, and you can say, "Hey, this is what we're doing," and they'll ask you to leave.
And that's the good thing about doing it there. The bad thing is about the sound interference you get. That's a good thing about being out here in the middle of nowhere. You may hear bugs, you may hear cows, but you're not going to hear people.
I never want to investigate anywhere else again where my thought is, I better start weaving.
Well,
I better
and that's
start
the part
weaving
I was
to
gonna
avoid
get-
the hail of gunfire.
Anytime we're at an investigation and Tyler starts running, I'm the second motherfucker that starts running, regardless of what's happening.
Yeah, I was in the back.
So he takes off, kind of brisk, I'd say running, with his
Yeah.
walkie-talkie telling everybody.
Not even close. I wasn't running.
Of course, I know.
Because
Not
we
yet.
also had to look out
Not
for.
yet. I was jogging because I was trying to avoid what happened to you.
Yeah, I was about.
Yeah,
to bring
that's
that
what I was
up.
getting ready to say, is there was a tombstone. I don't know who that poor soul was, but it was, about 3 feet high. And I had shit in my hands. I don't even remember what I was carrying. But
You were
I made
looking for your other 2 recorders,
and I think the 2 had already collected in my hand.
yeah.
And I made a 180-degree turn to go briskly like Tyler was doing, and I ran smack dab into this damn. Hunter said it even moved. I may have knocked the damn
Rocked
thing
back and
off.
forth.
I may have knocked it off.
What?
But I ran into a headstone.
Well, yeah, but it shouldn't have moved.
It might
I
not
hit-
have. It just looked like it.
I hit it right. I hit it hard
Really hard.
because everything in my hands flew forward. I was like, shit. Now I got to go find all that, and my leg is fucking broken.
And you had left your keys in a random box somewhere.
Out in the middle of the cemetery in the battery box. Yeah. I'd throw because I remember
did.
when it was daytime, I said, I'm just going to leave these here.
I asked you. I was like, "You want me to put them in my pocket?"
You did, yes.
And you were like, "Nah, I'll just leave them here."
I'll find them. They'll be right there. I know. I'll take a left at this one and take a right at that one, and there's a big angel, and I'll find it. And I couldn't find any of that shit.
What if we came back and they were gone?
Well, then I would have rode with one of you motherfuckers. Because- and my car would have been for sale.
Donated.
But anyway, overall, the investigation itself was cut short because of danger.
Unforeseen circumstances.
Danger to life and limb, because I'm not messing with backcountry dudes out there. These are guys who are still making Kentucky Twist in the moonshine.
Well, when I was walking up to that car, I fully expected to see some kind of weapon. I really did. That was my worst fear.
You know
is
what?
That I was
My
gonna
first
see
thought
it.
was you were going to walk up to that car and be like, good, it's you. I know you.
See, that's what I was hoping was going to happen, because I know most people in Crane.
Right.
And around the area anyway. And I'd never seen this guy before in my life. What I didn't mention yet is I said I was trying to get some information out of him. And so I said, "Hey, you look familiar. Do I know you?"
And you were just saying that because he did look familiar?
No, I had no idea who he was.
You were just
I
trying to...
was wanting him to say, "Oh, I'm..."
Yes, okay.
I wanted a handshake.
Yeah,
I
right.
wanted to get a little bit of reassurance that I'm going to survive this.
Yeah.
And he did not know who I was, but he thought he did.
Did he really think that?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
How old did he look?
He was old.
Like
he was old. He was
73?
older than me. No, not that old.
Okay.
I'd say he's 40s, 50s.
Oh, okay.
Like older than me, but not like old.
Yeah.
And I remember I go, "You look familiar." And that was a lie, because I just wanted to try to get something from him, right? And he goes, "Well, what's your name?" So he didn't tell me his name, which is
Right.
another red flag. I was like, why would you not tell me your name?
He should have stuck out his hand and said, Rick, Bigfoot Hunter.
Right. Yes.
Or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the guy at the gas
Cletus,
station.
Squatch Hunter. Nice to meet you.
If that would have happened, we would have stopped the full investigation. I said, all right, Tyler will join you guys. You guys go over here and tree knock.
If it had went that way and he had said, Cletus, Squatch Hunter, I'd be like, we'd be having beers with him.
Yeah.
Dude, get on, park your car, come out here. Well,
He'd be sitting here with us on this podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
New member.
But what did he say?
Didn't tell me his name, and he asked me what my name was, which I told him because I'm not there to steal stuff.
Correct.
And he goes, "Oh, I know you. You took my daughter to prom," which I most certainly did not.
Did he smile as though that was a pleasant
No,
memory?
he did not. He did not. So whatever poor soul took his daughter to prom pissed him off.
Yeah.
Because he did not look friendly.
So that took like a 90-degree turn right there.
Yeah, it did not go as planned.
But there's another guy that lives down there that has a name that is identical to yours, that age-wise it would sync up for him if he's
Maybe.
50, that is not totally out of the question.
Or he is just
It's not
out
so
of
much
his mind and
Yeah.
has no idea what he's talking about.
It's not really so much that he thought that you were someone who took his daughter to the prom. It's that didn't elicit a pleasant memory.
No.
When he said it.
So if you took this guy's daughter to prom, stay away from Mars Hill. You do not want to go there. He is not happy with you.
I thought it was funny. One of the things that was said was Dustin clearly trying to diffuse what was becoming an increasingly hostile situation. But about the time that it was all coming to an end, we started to see the Starlink satellites.
right
Oh, I
overhead.
forgot about Starlink.
They
I
were
forgot
coming
that
up over the
happened.
horizon, and they were really bright tonight. That night.
For those of you that don't know, it's just a line of lights that are moving pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's the
It's Starlink.
Satellites, and he was like, "Oh, look at the satellites over there," and the guy didn't.
He didn't even look up.
No, he didn't move at all, and he just said, "Can't see them."
That was
know that
really
happened.
funny. Even when I was adrenaline pumped and scared, I thought that was hilarious. I had trouble not laughing.
But you know what's funny about that is the Starlink thing. I forgot. I videoed it because it was going right over us. Even though we were in a weird, like you said, borderline hostile situation.
You still got out your video
They were
while I
so
was-
bright while you were up there. I videoed it, and on the video, you can hear me say, "We got to get the fuck out of here."
If that would have gone differently, you would have had your video out looking at the sky and then would have seen a muzzle flash in the corner and heard a gunshot.
You'd be playing that at a trial.
Pop, pop, pop.
And then the camera falls.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. I get
Like
Blair
in
Witch.
007, the blood comes down from the top of the screen.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was, it was not the investigation that we had planned, needless to say, because as we were, running away to collect all our stuff, my main concern at that moment when we were running to collect our stuff, my main concern was running through one of those spider webs that were
Oh, my
between
God.
the tombstones, because if I would have got one of those motherfucking spiders on me, which were the size of a $50, I would have been, joining you guys on the parking lot naked. Because I've ran through a spider web in broad daylight and tore my shirt off and left it laying out there for days. So anyway, that was my main concern. 'Cause
Then it really would be deliverance.
well, the problem was if you would have run through these spider webs that we've seen, they would have hit you waist down.
One of them would have hit you in the face.
There was one that was up high, but yeah, I was just
that was the
scared to
biggest
death
spider.
because I did if we would have really had a scene. If you'd have been dealing with those two guys and then I would have had a spider on me.
In the background, you're running around naked. It's a madhouse.
Chaos.
When the truck was first pulling in, I kept my eyes on him for a while because I heard the car coming, and then I put it over the radio, and then when the brake lights shine and the reverse lights come on,
He's backing it.
that's when I started to pick up speed a little bit.
Yeah.
with my jogging.
At some point, you were moving pretty quick to the point where I didn't know where you went.
Chris was behind me, and he's going, "Where are you going?"
It's like, where are we going to run? Just head out across the hills?
You were just running to the other
Kept
group
going.
of people.
I kept going, and my speed picked up gradually. And I heard him again in the background. He said, "Where are you going?"
It's like, fuck, there's
didn't know.
nowhere to go.
So I told him, I was like, "I don't know." So he catches up with me, and we keep going a little bit. He's right beside me. You were to my left.
Is this about when I hit the tombstone?
We were going equal speed.
I think that was later.
And then I hear,
Oh, never mind. It wasn't.
and suddenly he's not beside me anymore.
Well, I dropped every damn thing in my hand,
Yeah, you
including
just
my...
hear a big thump and oh shit.
Yeah, I did hit that damn thing
You hit
hard.
it loud.
Really hard. It hurt. Man, I
loud.
can't believe it didn't leave a mark. Hell, that thing may be laying over on its side down there now. Shit, I don't... but anyway, that was not the investigation that we planned.
They didn't know each other, my ass.
Yeah,
like
they're
one of
full
them
of it.
had our exit blocked and flanking us, and the other one was like doing
He's
a
like driving
patrol.
through the cemetery. Why? That's when I say that's never happened before. We've only been out there once, but when me and you and Ty went out there, it was just completely black as night.
Us,
There-
bugs, and cows.
There was not the one car that went by was the dude with the flow rider blasting. That sat there. He was probably hitting his rolling a joint or something. I don't know what he was doing out there. But that's, I mean, we saw like that one car. We didn't have to hide from cars. And this time when we talk about this car that backed up, he didn't just happen to be going by. He had gone by several times.
Maybe they were fans and they knew we were going to Mars Hill. They've been going there for like the past 5 months, just
waiting to see if we're
passing
there.
by.
5 months.
Yeah, the past 18 months we've been talking about Mars. But anyway, we did get out there, and we did have stuff set up. We had to make a quick exit. That was so funny though. Whenever the next day I was showing Andrew I was like, oh, the Starlink went right overhead. He's like, oh, I was showing the video, and you can hear me say, we got to get the fuck out of here. But anyway, we did set up some recorders. Last time we were there, we got actual whispers and maybe some tactile type stuff.
I'm just glad we didn't catch like a faint banjo in the distance getting louder. That would have been way more terrifying for me.
That was my mind was in Deliverance. Whenever the truck started weaving through the cemetery, I thought, man, I don't know if we're going to see tomorrow.
I would say if on the stuff I got, I think I've got some maybes.
Yeah,
maybes. Chris's is. I would play yours last because yours
I'd see
is
maybes
the best.
and then one pretty decent
Yeah, I would put
thing.
Chris's in there. The rest of it, I would say, is I don't know.
You heard that?
I heard that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
That.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and play these, and again, we're playing these for you to kind of listen and determine yourself, because they're what would we say, undetermined, undecided. We haven't, we don't know. We'll play them. Let me see. And then we didn't really talk about there at the end whenever we were gathering everything up.
Oh shit!
Trying to get the hell out of there. I think you were already out there approaching with hands raised.
I know us three.
We'd
were
already,
there.
but at this point in time, you'd already dealt with the guys. They'd already left. And
Oh,
we
is
were
that
just
right? They had
packing.
already, okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the sequence.
This was when John was very swiftly coiling all of his
All of his
cables.
wires. Yeah.
Like,
Very swiftly.
If you could go out and see this, I mean, this outfit out there normally would take 45 minutes to break down, pack up, and get out of there, and I did it in like 6. So I mean, this was impressive speed.
I had still.
Whoa.
Yeah,
What was
got
Did
that.
you hear that?
I heard it.
Did you hear that? Did anybody?
I
everybody
just heard
heard
that.
Yeah, I
That
heard
was
it.
the old man.
Like a
That was
groan.
old man, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Something. Yeah. Yeah, like that. That's what it sounded like. He was high pitched.
it was him.
It was him. So yeah, as we were getting all our stuff collected, at this point, I still had one missing recorder that I'd placed on a tombstone somewhere, and I was looking for it. So me and John and Hunter were probably, I don't know, 15 yards apart or so in like a triangular. But we heard what sounded like someone fell out of a tree.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I think it
it
sounded like.
didn't even sound like you dropped something. It sounded like a body
Well, I
hit the
didn't
ground.
drop anything. Yeah, but it didn't sound like anybody just dropped like a microphone or a
Right,
cable.
and
or,
this wasn't just like a hedge apple falling out of a tree or something. This was a pretty
Like
good
the
sized
weight
object.
of a person
Yes.
falling out and hitting the grass.
because we
Yes.
all three heard it. It's like, shit, did you hear that? And we didn't have anything. Did we have anything
No,
rolling?
because everything
Okay.
everything was done.
And when you guys told me this, again, my mind went to the worst spots, because that guy did tell me. I forgot one other thing he told me. He's like, well, I live about half a mile down the road. And I was like, this fucker went back home, got out of his car. Now he's
walking
creepily looking, like,
Well, that
sneaking through
could-
the dark woods.
That still could be. I mean, it could have been.
It
could
was
have been
too close. We would have seen. I heard it very loud.
I heard it as well, but maybe it was him coming back up there to do that. That's possible.
Coming back up there to
Well, I
do
mean,
that.
I don't know. Maybe he came back. I'm not gonna.
Maybe he did have murder on his mind. I
I'm
don't
saying
know.
it was like a slapstick situation where he's hiding in a tree like Elmer Fudd with a sniper and just falls out. That's what we heard.
Yeah, I don't know, but it sure sounded like someone was running full speed and just stage dived into the ground.
He wasn't giving hand signals to anybody in the trees, was he? Damn it, Cletus.
They were kind of like a hillbilly SEAL Team 6, so he could have came in a dolphin dive.
So let's go ahead and roll through these. And like I said, the first two were not. Are there 2 or 3? Let's see. Oh, there's 3 of them. Let's go ahead and now this first one, when John sent it to me, I was like, oh, I do hear the 2 syllables. I hear it. But then as I listen more, I was like, is there any chance? And I could be completely wrong because honestly, you can hear a lot of cicadas out there, but I did not see a lot of bugs unless I turned my flashlight on. Could it be a bug? Could it be wings flying by? I don't know. Let's play it and kind of see what we hear.
Let me set this up here.
Okay,
Chris had said beforehand, he'd said, "What's your name?"
Oh, yeah.
And this was about 60 seconds after Chris says, "What's your name?" So a very delayed response, but then here's what happened. Right there.
Does that sound like a bug?
Do it again. I'll show you again.
Not the cicadas. Not the cicadas.
I think it says Stacy.
There's two sounds that could be two syllables, or it could be a bug flying by the.
It kind of sounds to me like it's bug wings.
It could be. It could be.
Let's try it.
Or it could be saying Stacy.
Let's try it again.
Right there.
Had a little girth to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Can we do it one
Let me
more
do
time?
it again because that time it sounded vocal.
To me, it sounds like it says Stacy.
I don't know.
Sounds a little buzzy.
It's
A little
It's a
buzzy.
little.
I don't know.
It depends on how I set my. If I go into it thinking, okay, it's a bug, I hear a bug.
I know.
I've heard that same noise when a bee is flown right by my ear before.
Yes,
Could be.
but I didn't. There were. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I didn't see any bugs.
I had some
nearby.
other possibles as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it one more time though. I can't be sure. I can't
I'm
be
not sure.
We'd have to. Yeah,
See,
we'd
and
have to.
this is the part of the problem you get into, not to beat on a dead horse, but this is the problem you get into when you're dealing with outdoors. There's so many sound variables. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play one of the other ones here. I mean, on that last one, did it maybe say Mr. Kusich?
Oh, it might have.
Oh my god.
Play it again. I think
Inside joke.
it was Goosage.
You know what? It's going to be funny if we ever go back to Ashley's house. We go back to Ashley's house, and she comes out and she says, "You know what, guys? I've done some further
I've done some
investigating,
digging.
and
Yeah,
apparently,
Steve Kusich.
yeah, Frank Kusich owned this place." And everybody called him Mr. Kusich back in the 1800s. Then I'm gonna be
What we're talking about for people who have no idea, and we shouldn't have got off on this side rant, but we got an EVP at a house we investigated a few years ago, and it just sounded like a robotic.
It was very weird. It was a good EVP.
yeah, type thing, and it's kind of like the one we just played. It's kind of like that, it was a whoa, 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 and John was like, I don't know, I think it says Mr. Kusich. It's like, man, that's specific.
I don't think I've ever laughed as hard. That's when we were at the radio
That
station.
was on the old podcast, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and play. Let's play. Let's play a couple more of these here.
I think I heard something right there.
Okay, I'm going to back it up.
There's something at the beginning, and then
Yeah.
after I say there's a.
Let's do it again here.
I think I heard something right there.
Yeah,
The second one's good. The first
second-
one might be like, we heard a bunch of animal
I was
noises.
gonna say,
And it could be a cow. The first one could
might
be a cow.
I think so, but the second one sounds really close.
Yeah.
Let's do
I
it.
heard a breath in the middle.
Well, I did too. I wasn't sure on that part. Let's do it again here. So that part right there, we're saying might be a cow.
Yeah, that could be a cow.
Now it's the next part that we're focusing on.
I think I heard
Right there,
that.
right behind you.
And I
Yeah.
did hear what Hunter was talking about too.
The
There's
breath.
like a little breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and then if you let that go on a minute, Dustin comes on and says, I cut that part out, but Dustin says, what was that?
Okay, I'll let it play here. I'm going to go
I mean,
past.
I'd already cut it. I don't think.
Oh, it's not on here.
It's not
Okay,
on
I'm going to
there.
go ahead and play the whole thing anyway.
I think I heard something right there.
There's something there.
Yeah, see there.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard what you're talking about this time.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it before.
When I listened the first time, I heard the cow, but then I did finally hear the second part there. Yeah, let's go ahead and play. This is your third one, John. Let's see what we got here.
Can you tell us what your name is?
Part of that at the very end was a
It's a
cow.
cow.
At the
Yeah.
end is a cow, but before that.
Before that was not a cow.
Let's try it again.
Can you tell us what your name is?
And then the cow.
And then the
right?
cow after that.
Anybody?
Anybody got anything?
I can't. Let me do it one more time. I want to try to break apart what's a cow and what isn't.
Can you tell us what your name is?
Okay, was that a cow? That's what I'm asking.
The first part is a cow, and it's like there's something in between the two cows.
I know. I hear. Because there's something back here that none of you guys reacted to that I waited for you to, and nobody did. It's right after you. Right here. Let me go to that spot. Right there.
I heard
that was the part I was listening to.
Some low, like mumbling or something. I don't know.
And then the cow. Right there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't be sure. I can't be sure on that 100%.
This is why you don't do outdoor investigations.
I know. It's almost impossible. However, this last one here, just by chance, and this is when we were...
I need to go in and pull up my recorders and listen closer into this again.
Yeah. This is when... you know what? I'm going to have to play it again and see. I can't even remember when this was. But let me go ahead and play it for you here, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit after we play it.
How are you supposed to walk here? That's what I was saying. I don't remember. How are you supposed to walk? Yeah, there's a certain way you're supposed to walk in a cemetery so you don't step on the person.
Okay, so what we're talking... I remember this now. What we're talking about there is when you go to a cemetery, I mean, there is a way you're supposed to walk in between the headstones so you're not, stepping on, whoever was buried there. And I can never remember any time I go to one of these things which way that is. And that's what I was thinking when Dustin said which way are we supposed to walk. So we were kind of at the beginning there, but you can hear, and I do want you to cross-reference yours, and because I don't know who that would be if it was one of us.
I don't either, because the thing is, mine, my Tascam, my handheld Tascam should have that, because you can hear me in the background saying, Bobby.
Okay, well, let's listen.
At the end, you can hear me. I'm close enough in that
so
I should have caught it. So
could the hey be you?
I don't think so. What would I have said hey about? What would I have done?
I don't know.
Why would I have said hey?
Let's try it again.
How are you supposed to walk here? That's what I was saying. I don't remember. How are you supposed to walk? Yeah, there's a certain way you're supposed to walk in a cemetery so you don't step on the person.
I hear a lot of stuff there.
After the hey, I heard something else that time.
Yeah, I hear like a little grudge sound.
Try one more time here. Let's see.
How are you supposed to walk here? That's what I was saying. I don't remember. How are you supposed to walk? Yeah, there's a certain way you're supposed to walk in a cemetery so you don't step on the person.
I heard something after the hey too. Unless that was one of us.
It's not that. It's not me saying hey, because listen to that hey is completely different from my hey Bobby.
Yeah, let's do it one more time.
How are you supposed to walk here? That's what I was saying. I don't remember. How are you supposed to walk? Yeah, there's a certain way you're supposed to walk in a cemetery so you don't step on the person.
Yeah,
that
it sounds
just
different.
doesn't sound like any of us.
I heard three things.
I heard hey and then something right after it that I can't tell.
Tyler says, how are you supposed to walk? There's like a little whisper.
Oh, well, let's go there. I didn't even hear that.
Walk here. That's what I was saying. I don't remember. How are you supposed to walk? Yeah, there's a certain way you're supposed to walk in a cemetery so you don't step on the person.
It's not. I didn't hear a whisper though. I heard like
You know
a
what that hey sounds like? That hey sounds like the hey from Ashley's house.
I don't remember a hey at Ashley's house.
Remember because of hey.
I remember whenever we got a voice that sounded like it was coming from the garage that said, "Is anybody there?"
But there was a hey or something like that at Ashley's house. That sounds almost identical to it.
Well, if it was one of us, we'll know soon because John.
I thought, did we already play the one that was like a female, like Stacy or something?
Yeah. That was the bug.
Oh, we heard
that was the bug.
That's the one you thought was a bug.
I had another one that I thought maybe, but as I listened to it here today, I determined that was a cow. So circled back around, and this is one of the reasons why we hate outside investigations, and one of the reasons why we kept punting it for as long as we did.
Yeah, I don't recommend anybody do it because there's so many sound variables that you just can't eliminate it. I mean, there's no way to ever, even if you went over there in the middle of winter, you're still going to have cattle, you're going to have all sorts of outdoor animals and everything else.
Man, there were coyotes like crazy out there.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of them. Even the little puppies, you could hear them barking and howling over there across the hillside, too. That's kind of, the best thing we really got out of Mars Hill was probably the story about the the Rogue Hillbillies.
It's a classic.
Rolling in. So that's really, we're not going to go back there. It's too hard. First of all, you've got stuff set up all over the field full of tombstones.
I do think, though, if you are going to try to do an investigation of a cemetery, I think you would be a lot better off to try to do it during the middle of the day. And the reason behind it is because then you're going to have less chance of people thinking you're vandalizing a cemetery if it's daylight.
That's true. I actually didn't.
And less chance of people going to break in because not many people do that during the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you were going to do a cemetery investigation, and we have proven here at this castle that paranormal stuff happens in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's 100% true. And the only way I can think that we would go back to Mars Hill is if we can figure out a way to get into that building that was once a church, that building that's there that they now use for whatever. I don't even know what they use it for. Okay, so that is kind of our anticlimactic Mars Hill run. You know, we did what we could, but we don't. You know, we've got so many. What happened? Did you hear something? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I did too.
We got so many other, things we need to do coming up here. We've got a house in Billings that me and John stopped by. The guy's been talking to us about his house down there. And we stopped by, as we left Mars Hill, we literally just drove by because he sent us his address and we drove by just to give it a look. And I thought he might come on the podcast this week to kind of just tell everybody kind of what's going on there, kind of some of the claims that he's having in the house. But he didn't really want to, which is not that uncommon. A lot of people don't want to, number one, go on a podcast and hear themselves, and number two, go on a podcast and hear themselves talking about things that might be, I don't know what this guy does for a living. Some people don't want to, publicize the kind of activity that they're going through, which is pretty common. But that is an investigation we're looking at doing here coming up pretty soon, and I guess we'll be back next week.
More Dark Matter on the way next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri with Midwest Ghost Hunters.